Заработало.
Stabilize!
Hold that pose!
Water comes in many flavors to the discerning palate. Mondstadt's water is crisp and pure, while water from Liyue has an enduring aftertaste. In Inazuma, the water possesses a depth of flavor unlike any other. Sumeru's water
Знать бы еще
has
зачем
a
она
rich
мне.
and complex flavor profile, but it must be savored patiently to fully appreciate it.
Add ast. Thank you for. Add ast. Let the record show that I verbally consent to relinquishing these items into your possession. Solidify! Yeah.
Bow your head.
Let the record show that I verbally consent to relinquishing these items into your possession.
Right. Say cheese! Shower me with...
Settle down.
The fate of this world is already...
Ooh, what a pleasant surprise! Truly an extra slice of joy.
Boats on.
Stabilize!
Hold that pose! Yoo-hoo! Time to shine!
Be sanctified.
This is order. Gather!
Say cheese! Showering you with praise! Let the world come alive!
Bow your head. The tides beckon. Stabilize. Order guide you.
Smile! Yoo-hoo! Time to shine!
Settle down.
Hard hitting it!
Let the mighty be humbled. Gather. This is order.
Say cheese! Showering you with praise! Let my name echo in song!
Silence. Be sanctified.
Being too popular can be such a hassle. Who knew the people would adore me so much?
You're here! Finally!
Is something wrong?
Monsieur Neurvalette and Lady Farina, they seemed...
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not? Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the
You mean... they're all...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. And I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know any...
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't... but you found them...
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3 feature... The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you know nothing of this?
I don't. I've never seen...
I'll ask you again. Do you really have... My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. I understand your concerns, but...
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various... There are several indications that you have been investigating. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should... You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet... You...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually working to take care of it. There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. Just trust in me, your Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss... Oh! The opera's about to start.
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling.
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed!
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again, a state of affairs that we cannot allow to. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding. Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is her attitude. We may have to create a situation in which...
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must have the Hydro Archon experience.
But Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions. How do we make sure that...
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with various parties. If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but we must prevent the prophecy from coming to pass. This may be cruel to her, But all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious, and so we must take a chance on this. But who will lend us their aid to do?
Well, that's everyone. Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what family should do. Sit in a...
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No.
Then how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful, the spotlight at last.
That was a little long-winded, don't you think?
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our efforts together to create...
Oh?
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot. So, let's...
Huh? Didn't you say that you would be...
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice.
I see. And what does my boss say?
He is glad that you consider him your boss.
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette, Oh, right. You were sick that...
I've also gone diving to catch some fish.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but Fontaine once played, though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various... Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique methodology of hunting in their wake. A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a container. So, if we were to build a trap together...
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and rabbits will see the bait and naturally enter the snare. Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry, so you can count on our techniques.
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed some magic for the bawling children.
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods.
Calm and steady.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. I remember that you liked those.
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the...
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear I do not have any related experience.
That makes sense. You usually solve, but I do have one more question for you, Miss. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more...
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change the containment. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it.
So...
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, but we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god.
Oh, so that...
Splendid! More interesting trinkets for...
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much is... Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on. Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Huh? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you... Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before!
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you to...
Who's that?
Ah, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are...
The voice from the sky, Huh. You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. Consider me a passerby, just accepting... The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied
What?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be... So you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the god...
What is she talking about? It all sounds really impressive and important and stuff, but...
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in... This was good tea, by the way.
The voice. What? Alright, Kami! Hey, it's you!
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird panel. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned...
Did she have pink hair?
Why, yes! It was Charlotte. You remember her, right? I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important.
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible.
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times.
She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well, surprised.
Whoa. The Hex and Zirkel sounds like a scary group.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then...
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say. Perhaps it is something that you cannot know. Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as but even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing playing out before you... I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone. If we don't struggle to the last, then how can we face the end when it comes?
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about it. Was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are... I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet by coincidence.
Paimon feels kind of moved by what Mona said. But, hey, Traveler, Paimon suddenly feel... Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by. Huh? Our names are written in this newspaper. What's going on? Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy. But that does not mean that my recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Huh. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report, a blind adventurer with their white fairy legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this mysterious traveler So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the tales of the traveler, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Trail, Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us and we never even noticed. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find... Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look... Paimon's hungry. Should we go in? Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go, Paimon!
1 slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and...
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No. It's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call...
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right?
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon should... It's more delicious than last time! And the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea. It sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious. Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you seen the article I wrote about you?
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick mora!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to... It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really?
Oh, you're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble now.
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
When Mona mentioned you, we thought of coming to see you at work.
I see. It seemed... So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the legendary...
Huh? So your article in the paper...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things...
Yeah, are we even...
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course.
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat.
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply for lighting, a venue, some prop. Ooh, so much to get done now. Talk to you...
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine...
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it all. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than worry over... So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copied. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. But anyway, that's my answer. And on that...
That's so nice. All of a sudden, Paimon actually... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo. Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow. No, Paimon should ask if you... We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, isn't that what we've always been? Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure. It's not...
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Meropide. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass along a message from him. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has...
A riot?
Well, that said, I don't personally think it was that... Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, some other loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started...
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as...
So what happened after that is...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control, and that further argument was pointless, the Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order, and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when things had stabilized did we realize that she...
So, you mean she's...
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to search for her. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god, after all. Even if she were to fall into... Good. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to tell you about the situation, but he didn't...
Don't worry. This is more than enough...
Ah, is that so?
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, she'll look for... And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic. When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, it would be hard for her to ignore being a... Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity... Huh! Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can do the analysis to back it up, too. Cool, huh? In that case, there's not a moment to lose.
Tea parties are a must for the well-mannered. If you'd like to learn the proper etiquette, I'd be happy to teach you. more interesting to do?
This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there.
What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Give up. I'm sorry, but what can I even do other than... Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina, it's...
So, it is you.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stain? Who did that uncivilized... They even dare to tout their Archon! I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marish Soci... Of course not!
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some... That's against the rules. I can't let them get their...
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up! This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here! Quick, come to Paimon before the rest...
What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here!
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they display. You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground...
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding.
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some emergency plans, so...
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea, but all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have it. Give up. I do love the sound of that indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. But just now, it all became clear to me. I still don't have the right to come to terms with fate as long as the final moment hasn't come. Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, considering my rank and station, that wasn't a good Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were
share my That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the star. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show on a
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of...
So, this is what it is. Yes, do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against... I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an...
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what did...
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate I will admit that I've been running away. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable. You are not the only ones to be disappointed. But now, it is time for the Hydro Arc. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true... This time, applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous... Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo! Oh, no! Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get... Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously.
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then... Also, please allow me to ask, just how much work did you do to...
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of... Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you... So, We arranged for a
So, you mean the ones who scoured the...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic...
That's right. That house...
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Areneus. Its cart was an Archon. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary... Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage.
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me... You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived. Oh? It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very...
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too. Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this... Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duels you took part in. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom. This is the first of the... According to Monsieur Nervilette, both Child and the Fortress of Meripede, I nearly lost... The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably... I nearly lost...
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actor, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However,
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon.
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be...
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather...
Yeah, I've never questioned her.
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were... See? Even the Oratrice has just... If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a...
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
Well, I tried to give you. And if I was not the Archon, then how?
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's...
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble it, but in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was...
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina is actually...
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I... Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. For centuries, manifestations of my authority, one need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique.
You tried to reference the Oratrice, but weren't you as confused as all...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances is in order. While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital...
I never thought...
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated...
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority...
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict, you can't argue that just because a divine...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce...
My power as an Archon. There are many...
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared to extend my...
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide...
Isn't that a huge...
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Shouldn't you want to believe in me? Please? You've got to believe me.
If what the prosecutor said is true.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you...
Wow, she came up with yet another... doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this... It has been established that all Fontanians can
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though...
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many lives, including those of some of my closest. So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path.
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for many years.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all the rest of us. Would she...
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is...
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really planning to...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you...
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon!
Miss Siegewin? If you're present, Miss Siegewin, please come forward and...
Siegewin? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to
Thank you, Miss Siegewin. Lady Farina, you may return to the...
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get to...
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around Poisson. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low concentration. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina...
I can't believe... You... Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold and just think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can... Also, if I was really just a human... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine, is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never been the Hydro Archon in the first, but now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume that...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the name...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I have now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's... so when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slips. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the original sin and the Hydro Archon... The third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea. That reminds Paimon, didn't we? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a... quite...
We know from the case of the serial and the first stone slate tells us that long ago the This might be the reason that Fontanians can...
That doesn't...
Perhaps what is about to take place, the true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervil and the original sin
That doesn't sound...
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When Navia fell into the sea, the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. If we hadn't dealt with it in time, things could...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps... Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass no matter what... The prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine what we know to... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So, but... Then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny.
All Fontanians were originally created by the evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans with that. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty.
The Hydro Archon's true sin?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many people. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded. I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of in the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves expressed to the Hydro Archon. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first...
So we were...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin...
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontaine.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are humans rather than Oceanids. They have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to. Therefore, The meaning of the third that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Arc. Yes, it
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the
Traveler, I would like to point out another small about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meropide served as... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be a small warning of something far worse to come. As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause.
It was both dream and...
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root...
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen to make an... That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea level. And once it has finished consuming all...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of... Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely... From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a...
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like... Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
We've already done everything we can, and we've come so far. You can't just tell me that—
Indeed, that's not how a grand performance should—
I'll fight it to the end, no matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen.
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina!
No, I still need answers!
You... You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help—
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success.
Fusalo, why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else, too. The heavenly principles.
Deceiving the...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine, one was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more— She knew full well that the prophecy would surely— And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly— So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I had to outwit the heavenly principles. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria— Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the— But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose—
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by—
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do. Even now, after becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human count, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as her strengths were of a kind only a human. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human, and anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace I suppose now you probably understand why your court—
But Farina is only even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, it's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely. Oh? Who permitted you to come onto this stage? Now, I understand your All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract me from my— Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must at— Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
Bow your head.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! Farina. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad.
Mirror me? What?
The prophecy.
What prophecy? Wait, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the
Oh, very good.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you. Disaster will come to Fontaine sooner or later.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die? I'm a Fontainian just like them. Will I dissolve?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but...
Oh, so there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die anyway, right? If there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side.
I suppose this would also be the justice.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just
play as...
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy.
But how will I do this? A human...
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. Being a human yourself, I'm sure... Remember, your true challenge...
I'm still not sure I understand. So, how long...
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not, but I promise you, all...
A trial, huh? The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession. What should I say to most appear like a... Ladies and gents, I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, in truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my... Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please send them. This should do it. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the...
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being a fake? Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play the role. Calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day come onto the stage and claim own. Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. Now then, let us.
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were.
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Beth, my dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your. We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say the scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot. So long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese, so long as I stand before the Oratrice, I shall even judge the gods.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well as a summary of the
Come now, was I not Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward.
If I may be so impertinent, what?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous.
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your divine thought.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duty.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Long have you Oh, all right. Deoteria, is it? How is your son's...
He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was...
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again...
You're such a gentle and wise...
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the specific...
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did already expect this. All manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute...
Really? Have they found...
I'm afraid...
Oh, is that so? Well, no one... The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. I just need to keep... All right, Farina, don't think too hard.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of...
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them all.
Lady Farina, I've...
Indeed, my dear loyals.
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies near Poisson.
Understood. Keep monitoring. I don't think I let anything slip today. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you was Madame Deoteria.
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings me great joy to meet such a...
Surely...
What is it, good citizen?
Oh, are you crying?
Uh-huh. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god who's...
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your power, then. Oh.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined that it would have reached my limit. I want to tell someone, anyone. I've conducted so many investigations across. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this act.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still just share it with me.
A witness. Yes, I've heard, and if to that is in its entirety, she's right. I could, but if things don't play out as expected, no, Farina. But what if, Farina, you've worked so hard for is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom you can confide. If you let this opportunity slip through, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her...
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principle, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, it seems that trusting humanity was the right.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. But how would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine? That is the...
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the court. It now seems that that person was you, hidden within the machine all along.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a
I beg you.
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the I mean, did you think my work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate but really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the vast majority had to be accumulated.
It was all part of your plan, then?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking...
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro
But...
Oh, what? Getting sad again, The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
All you've done throughout the years is just so you can
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole... I, for my part, am the god of justice. Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be, in other words, existence was Egeria's justice. And to me, justice is defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. At this point, we, whether it be myself or Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign...
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, at last, I now understand that in the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one for things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Ex Nouvellette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment. I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the Primordial Sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the all-devouring narwhal. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution. Find a way to attack it from within. We shall share part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for another way together. If we can narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
Solidify!
Why is there a rolling thingy over there? It's scary.
Manifest the authority of the ancient dragons. Witness the might of the primordial sea. I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment. Use my...
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but... it was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my... actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point. But they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder.
That power.
Hyman has an idea. It's just that he gave us the impression that she was
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the Alt, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an Alt. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is that all in all, it failed.
Miss Skirk? I think you might have missed the point.
The point being...
Well, being that this pet, so what sort of person is your master?
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, his name is Sertologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar.
Huh. So master is insufficiently famous.
The foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the visionary? Vetterfalnir then? Or Gold...
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine-Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle.
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my ma- But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-Daughter. They're both-
Wait! Did you also mention a visionary
Actually, never mind that. I believe it expedient to inform you that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now...
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has...
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
hands, initiate emergency rescue!
Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
Yeah.
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
The soul renewed. The Suite di Rasula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a smoked skyship winglet. Lunar brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a sheep. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his team. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the report. They sound like real big shots.
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. With the disaster just having passed, we would print the value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. We'll publish Edwin's assistant Jurier created a true flying ship, while Navia is leading people in the reconstruction.
Paimon's curious too!
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best.
Are you sure?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on, let's head to Poisson.
Oh, it's you. What brings you all here?
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here. Oh!
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of supplies. And our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year, but if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same interests as the Spina.
I get where you're coming from. Keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly neighbors?
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another hour before the work.
Huh?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina...
Wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before...
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a...
Oh, I see you're the same as always.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let her off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up.
How did it go? Was it a good shot, did Paimon?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows?
Oh, wow, you really...
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin, who told Monsieur Neuvillette, and he told you—
That's a very...
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the Fortress become so friendly towards the media? I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that—
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case—
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Dude! Did you come all the way to the end?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse recommended to me.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my visit to the fortress.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust...
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
Hey, no need to be so, Miss Charlotte.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her face to appear beside that of Mr.
Sir, please don't say things.
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier did not...
No, I just...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed chatting with the boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you... Still, if I might ask, where's that flying ship now?
Huh. Looks like Charlotte's trying to get her...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory. I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to get a ship.
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an interview?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take a...
Did you really have to use the word couple? Well, then, 2 solo photos will do.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this?
Ah, Siegeween.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Sure. Come on, Miss Siege.
Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the front?
Same old, as you can see.
Other than that flying ship, I got a tad too much attention.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward...
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun. Not that...
I'll just leave the spotlight to you two. I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not sure you remember, but his 3 young followers are still waiting for his return.
He sure did win them over, huh?
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad being that they must face extended sentences for a
Oh, actually, what about you?
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along, and as to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folk.
Hey, everyone. The photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater factory next time. All right. Last stop, the docks.
Oh, you know...
Is that really necessary? Our line of work doesn't...
It's precisely because we don't need the picture that the...
Maybe I'm just happy that I managed to once again avoid this.
Yes, you successfully kept prying eyes...
You should be happy for it.
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks to...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to
trick a friend. I wonder which of my friends would...
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by...
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
Oh,
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later...
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first step. He'll become...
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful for your contributions to Fontaine.
That's all right. We were more than happy.
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. After Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, there were actually a number of things. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
That's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about.
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that Monsieur Neuvillette has had a significant change of heart regarding the matter.
So there's some reason for this that only Neuvillette knows about?
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which, I did see him strolling around the entrance to the Fortress of Meripede a while back.
Isn't he real busy and stuff? I didn't think he'd have... But back to the topic. The gnosis was given to the...
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that...
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler by chance. Please do not pay...
Are you going to take the gnosis back?
That is our duty as harbingers, yes. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision? All right.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello. If I'm not mistaken, there are diplomatic channels I'll need to report to take a photo.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians. The sea breeze is quite pleasant. I shall continue.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, traveler, Paimon, you take one.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pockets when we... I guess this must be life. We will... All right, then. We'll be handing out pockets and...
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently, they've been at the docks distributing these strange
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can
Trick a friend.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have...
realize.
He was the one who proposed to me this. He even once.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Paris.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got... Father said... Oh, after Lady...
A diplomatic...
Yes, it could have been done. Furthermore, I would agree. I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself.
Isn't he real busy and stuff? But back to the topic. The Gnosis was given to the Knave, right?
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads...
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father.
Well, what do you know?
Are you going to take the Gnosis?
That is... Don't be switching my masks. Is something well, that depends on many things. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist. That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like. The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interviews.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. I guess this must... All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte, huh? Shall we go see how Neverlette's doing? As long as he's not so busy that he doesn't have time to chat anyway. The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there! So, you really are here, Neverlette! I didn't think you were going to have free time this hour.
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. He took the time to greet me earlier when he passed. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting, so I may explain...
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remembered. Thank you for keeping us on your... Alright, let's have it then. How was Fontaine actually saved?
It is strange how words can often leave a bitter taste in the mouth.
So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you, transforming you into a fully... But Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordial sea, with constitutions similar to that of... But so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion in which life was first brought into being on this planet. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and thus would naturally know...
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the prophecy appear to have come true while saving everyone. Yeah, and in a manner of speaking,
It seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the all-devouring narwhal. But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause. As for the judgment passed by the Oratrice during the trial, whether it was due to that liability by association or Focalors deliberately
Guess Focalors had Fontanians in mind the whole time. Hang on a second. Paimon suddenly got it. Back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children they had also transformed?
Life has always flowed like water. Do you recall how Fontanians would often...
Yeah! Lynette said the fountain is where...
In truth, even those couples did not... Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later
Paimon sorta gets it now.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that.
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left affairs related to that title to me. I related Focalors' words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired and needed to rest. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the opera house. Not unlike...
But she's still got...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food, clothing, board, or travel. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. The wear and tear on her spirit, but now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalors the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her burden.
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your...
After Focalors passed on, this matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on...
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the perspective of the...
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power and this duty... manner of speaking, as such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no longer produce indemnitium.
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith in the Hydro Archon. Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all still okay.
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia. It can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite leave Fontaine immediately.
Wow. This ancient dragon's authority stuff is really...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomat...
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much. Their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem to be the Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more, and I do not need the Gnosis's power. As such, it has lost all meaning. If the Fatui have impure designs, we might as well accede to their request now.
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume. I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you what I know about that land. As far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragons.
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome there. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large number... Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an undying flame. There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiator. The Harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the end.
Captain. Sounds like a real tough customer. Seriously, everyone...
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan. I'm afraid that I have little talent. As far as I'm...
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect... Natlan is... There is one other... The Harbinger known as the Captain. I suggest that you fully prepare... Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned mentioned that your attitude towards giving away the note, we guessed that there might be some reason for it that
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the Fatui's intelligence division. So regarding this specific issue, I was just... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You hurry over.
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer I can finally catch the scent of your power. What it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons. With something very similar to I'm sure I've encountered something like this before. What was it again?
I do not know what you...
Of course. How could I forget? You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never...
According to your parlance,
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity fate, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the manner that you just did.
I've been training with my master, the Foul, ever since I was young. And I have never returned to the surface. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why, regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune. To prevent it to live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bonds he once had with this world shall all turn.
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my...
This third descender you refer to, who are...
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps if you're interested, though, I could ask him.
Next time, you believe we will...
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I?
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful...
The remains of... So that's what the no-seas actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's remains?
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor at play, that is what she meant to say.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it, which is why you gave it to the Fatui.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting Fontaine at unnecessary... I had guessed that you might already be familiar with his concept, but I did not expect you to be one of them. That means that the Gnosis, which are exceedingly element-compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities, do indeed come from the third descender. I wonder, does your body also possess...
Like being able to use all... No, let's not think about this stuff right. Comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this topic still feels like bad luck. Once child recovers, let's get some more answers out.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking.
Alright, whatever the case, it seems like...
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for the...
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god, and she suffered through all...
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god. I suspect not. But once in a while, I too would guess that if wishes were like the clouds in the sky, they will one day return to the earth. Life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. The water levels may sometimes tilt one way or another, but the rain... And what, ultimately, is the difference between the rains that...
ahead.
Let's light it up! The very final time.
Опять Доктор Стрэндж.
Everyone hold hands. Make yourselves at home.
Teamwork is teamwork!
The tides beckon.
I see everything.
Stabilize. Order guide you.
Everybody stand back!
The Temple of Wisdom.
Be sanctified.